What a play after play after play.
And he's got a lot of room to run, and she is taking over.
Rones, that's the greatest conference in the country is showing out tonight, gentlemen. I cannot believe it. That is the greatest football game.
Thank you so much for being with us on Tuesday night. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangola. Welcome to the WCAC Spectacular. He's Tim Strachan.
What's going on, Ken, man? It's so great to be here tonight. I am so excited. So sorry that Kevin's not going to be able to enjoy this conversation. He's attending something much more important tonight that came up, but a lifelong Duke fan, not getting able to talk to Danny Ferry. And I know it's so special to me to have Danny on, being a Matha guy and the things that we have in common. Look forward to that conversation and getting some news as well around the league.
Definitely want to send a shout out to the Rickett family. Our hearts are with you, and I'll tell you what. Definitely want to dedicate tonight's show to Teresa. Not only is she an awesome fan of our show in general, and I think Kevin ends up winning for the most part amongst the three of us because his mother-in-law is one of our biggest and most cherished fans. We certainly appreciate her. And tonight's show is dedicated to you, Teresa. I know you're going to figure out why real fast, but I want to say thank you on behalf of T.I. and Kevin and Luke and Vic for catching us on a weekly basis and being part of our show. And again, when your mother-in-law is one of the best one of the best fans of the show, then you win, Kevin. Congratulations, sir. I'll tell you what, T, why don't we do what we do and get started with a little something we call Around the League. Let's start out in Arlington, Virginia, where O'Connell has named a new lacrosse coach, Jack Rowlett, Northern Virginia native, played for Team USA U19 over at North Carolina as well, defenseman for the Chaos of the Premier Lacrosse League. We wish him well in what we hope will be an illustrious spring season and many to come. Going down to Blacksburg, Virginia, Aisha Shepard, St. John's alum, recognized at a game recently for her 1,000th career point as a Hokie. Congratulations, Aisha. How about we go over to South Bend, Indiana? Prentice Hub, Gonzaga alum, putting his name in the books as the all-time assist leader for the Notre Dame Irish, for the ACC, I should say, doing it for the Notre Dame Irish. Miles Dredd, another Gonzaga alum, taking care of business at State College as he hits a game winner as time expires to lift the Nittany Lions over VCU. We have seen Gonzaga celebrate before. Check it out. Way to go, Miles. Love calling out his name. Another two Gonzaga grads, Aiden Rafferty, Dean Engram, meeting on the field after the awesome Wisconsin-Indiana game. Congratulations on a great season for both of these two kids and their programs. How about Madison Scott? A little McNamara love. Got to call her championship game in the WCAC, making the honor roll over there at Ole Miss. Way to go, Maddie. Can't wait to have you on the show very, very soon. And it seems like whenever we have Madison, we also have Jakia Brown-Turner, former Mustang, getting a double-double, 12 and 11, as the NC State Wolfpack upsets the number one Gamecocks in the country. Great job, JBT. Check out that checkerboard. Paul VI, all those commits, student-athletes taking their game to the next level, managed a COVID-friendly picture for their parents. Way to go. We wish all you guys the best. Down there in Richmond, DeMatha alum and Spider quarterback Bo English sticking around campus by applying for and being accepted into the University of Richmond Law School. Way to represent Hyattsville's son. Speaking of representing Hyattsville, a name we've gotten a chance to talk about over the last couple years, Quinn Cook, returning to the Los Angeles Lakers. T, when you're building an NBA championship team with your sights set on the trophy, you got to have players like Quinn Cook. We know LeBron James wanted him back. As it turns out, that's what happened. Our guest tonight knows a little something about putting together NBA rosters. He's quite a player in his own right. Let's get right to it, T. How about we put a little backbeat behind this one? Two-time All-Met, two-time All-American, two-time All ACC Player of the Year, two-time ACC Athlete of the Year, the 1989 Naismith College Player of the Year, number 35 in the program, number 1 in your hearts. Pride of DeMatha, Mr. Danny Ferry. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Great to be with you. How you guys?
I mean, we're better now. See, what do you think?
Good.
We're unbelievable. Danny, thank you so much for coming on. We've been doing this for a few years now, and we're throwing around names all the time, and without a doubt, your name comes up a lot. And we appreciate your time tonight. I do have to thank you with a tongue in cheek for making my wife a Duke fan. I'm a Maryland guy, so that's hard to take. But you're pulling her sister Trissy out from camp as a demonstrator when you were doing the teaching, and she did a great job. She forever loved it. Watched you go on to Duke. She came home, told the family about it. Now my wife's a Duke fan, so thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
Great, and I enjoyed the Open and just hearing about all the athletes. I'm still not used to the girl thing. I know it's been there for a while, but the girl thing in the conference when I was in school didn't really exist. But it's great to see, and great to see the conference continues to be so strong.
Oh man,
we try to hit up all of it.
Does it ever? One thing we always say, Danny, no matter who we show up to cover, boys or girls or what sport, they just never let you down. Not only they're exciting to watch play, but they are amazing people to cover. And as you know, coached by some of the finest individuals, in the DC area. That was true when you were coming through the WMAC, and it's true now in the WCAC. But let's start where it started. Let's talk about Hyattsville. Let's talk about some of those black and white pictures that we were able to throw up. I mean, check where did that hairdo go?
That hairdo left me a long time ago. Excuse me. That hairdo left me a long time ago. It started losing me in college, unfortunately. But I grew up in Bowie and in that area in PG County. My brother went to DeMatha before me, and I just always wanted to be like my big brother. On that journey, obviously had the opportunity to play for Coach Wooten, who is the greatest. And I've played for great coaches, and no one's been better than him. But being able to play with great players as well, while I was there, while my brother was there, Derek Wittenberg, Sidney Lowe, Adrian Branch. And when I was there, the Benny Boltons, the Carlton Valentines, the Juan Neal, Steve Trax, Quentin Jackson, John Gwynn, Gerard Mustaf. I go down the list. I was just so fortunate to play in such a competitive environment and go and play a national schedule. I didn't do a lot of AAU, a little bit, but I didn't have to because we were put in such a fertile place where every day was competitive.
Yeah, Danny, one thing I have in common with you, I said this to Dantley as well, who was on with us a couple of weeks ago, is really the only thing I have in common with you. I got a chance to play for Morgan. And, people ask me all the time what it was like, and, words can't capture it. And so sad to see him leave us this year. There's the one picture I got with him. That's at his 1,000th win. Just let's start there real quick. What did he mean to you, not only on the court, but off the court?
Well, let me start by saying, I had the opportunity to play and work with Greg Popovich. I had the opportunity to play for Lenny Wilkins. I had the opportunity to play for Coach K. And he's right in that group, not just because he's in the Hall of Fame, but because he was that good. And he was that even better considering that he was molding high school people, changing people's lives, teaching. He was the best history teacher that anyone could ever have. Just a wonderful man. It was more than basketball with him. He made it about life and had a great impact on so many people, and something we talked about obviously at the funeral a few months back, but we've talked about, with my high school friends who were there, about him all the time and the influence, and we'd use some of his sayings and to each other or whatever it was that have stuck with us and helped make us some of the people that we are and some of the successes that I've had with me in basketball. But many of my friends in business in general, they look back at their time with Coach Wooten as, the greatest thing and the biggest impact on their life to be successful.
I can only imagine, in the year that we've all had, 2020, how much we have missed his wisdom, because I know he would have a lot of smart things to say about what we've been going through, and it wouldn't have anything to do with basketball.
Well, that's a great point. And we miss leaders right now. In the year that we've had and in society right now, we're lacking great leaders in our communities and in our country. And he is that. He was a great leader. And in our area, in our little community, he really, morals and value-based leadership, teaching us to compete, teaching us to not make excuses, teaching us to think bigger and think of your teammates and other people in the community and having your priorities. He was a great leader. He was a great coach, and he was an unbelievable man.
Well, Danny, you talk about having leadership like Morgan. You mentioned some other names at the top of this. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the manner in which we see so many kids from our conference, not just making it to the next level, but making it 2 levels above, to the NBA even. And maybe I was wondering if you could speak to that phenomenon. I mean, I think it's special and it stands out and it's different. And I can't imagine many people have had a better point of view for that specifically than you.
Well, with what I've done since playing and worked in front offices where we have to be aware of players and leagues and the whole deal, whether it's college or high school, whatever it is, that conference remains the best in the country. Philadelphia, the conference, the Catholic League School Conference there. There's a league out in LA, but none of them compete with DeMatha, St. John's, Gonzaga, and how it's grown over years with the other schools. It's just an incredible conference that has had great athletes throughout time and continues to produce and produce and produce.
Does that go down as like a check mark, when you're looking at guys? I mean, so many of them end up in the league. Is that when you're evaluating, is that just like a separate column?
Well, they came from highly competitive environments that had a strong base. But those environments started from within. All those schools have good teams, and they're competitive every day in practice. And from there, obviously, going through the conference, it's like the ACC in basketball, for example. It's like the SEC in football. If you come out of that conference, you have proven something, you have earned something, and you're more than ready for the next step. Certainly more than most other people.
Hey, Danny, I thought it was interesting. Just bringing it back to you a little bit too. You were the National Parade Magazine National High School Player of the Year your senior year, yet Sherman Douglas was the All-Met Player of the Year that year. How did that work out? But those are two unbelievable names from the area that we were just talking about.
Well, Sherman Douglas deserved Player of the Year because they beat us in the city title game. I played with Sherman.
Fair enough.
I didn't play there wasn't a whole lot of club in AAU. We played together in youth games for Oscar Phillips. I think we played together maybe in a couple tournaments for Harold Bates. But Sherman was a great competitor and a smart player. And, they beat us. And with that, he definitely deserved to be Player of the Year that year in the city.
Well, he did a job of my brother, Pooh Bear Strachan, who was St. John's grad, went to St. Francis in Pennsylvania, Loretta, Pennsylvania, went up to the Carrier Dome, took on Syracuse, and they lost by like 50. And he had to guard Sherman Douglas. So he got a little bit of taste of that himself.
Sherman, he wasn't physically impressive guy. He wasn't super fast. He wasn't, there was nothing eye-popping about him. What was exceptional about him was his brain. That dude was, could handle pressure, and he could see the game. And incredible passer, big shot maker, just a hell of a player, and one of the best players that's ever come out of the D.C. area.
Speaking of pressure, making your decision to leave when you left DeMatha to go to the next level, I mean, that was seen as, well, my understanding, it was a pretty big deal. I mean, when you made your decision to go play for Coach K, it wasn't like that's where everybody was going. So could you take us a little bit through, that, I mean, there couldn't have been, I mean, you talk about pressure, that had to have been a tough little stretch. Can you take us through that process and kind of what led you down to North Carolina?
Well, I grew up watching, I didn't go to North Carolina, first of all. But, bite your tongue. No, but I grew up watching the ACC basketball. I went to Maryland games all the time with my father when he was scouting for the Bullets. And I'd go to ACC games all the time. It's really what my dream was. The Big East at the time was just unfolding. It's not what I grew up with. Maryland and Georgia Tech and UNC and UVA and, you go down the list of ACC teams, the 8 teams at the time. That's what I grew up watching. That's really where I wanted to play. And, Maryland was with Lefty Driesell. I loved Lefty, but I really wanted to go away to school. I thought it was healthy for me, especially with my father there. And, he was general manager of the Bullets at the time, and just to kind of go away and be my own person somewhat, I think was healthy for me. And I ended up choosing between Duke and North Carolina. I took my time, and the longer I took, the more it seeped into me that I loved Coach. I loved Johnny Dawkins, who's, that was a big reason for me going there. Johnny Dawkins, first of all, my brother played against him at Mackin. I played against him at Mackin. I knew how good he was, and he was cool. And he made, for me, and then as the rest of the world saw, he made Duke cool. The guy had style, had class in how he played, was explosive, would dunk on people. But I just really thought a lot of him. And then also, from the area, there was Billy King, there was Tommy Amaker. There were people that I knew, and I just felt really comfortable with the people. They were great people. Coach K was building a culture. I made a great connection with him, and I just saw a great path to play basketball and get a great education at the same time.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I'm listening to you and, having gone to DeMatha myself. I mean, you're in that conversation whenever I'm having that talk with someone else. And I appreciate that so much because I also see a lot of similarities in Coach Wooten and Coach K and the styles of play and the styles of the schools and the personality. I mean, about this show sometimes, Danny, we also just like to say, what was it like to you personally to have gone to DeMatha, grown up in this conference, and helped shape you? Not as an athlete or a basketball player, but as a person, how you using that still today and what you're up to.
Well, to go back to it, at DeMatha and at the other schools in the conference, you didn't have an off night really. And you also didn't have an off day because it was competitive to play. It was competitive to make the team. So every day in practice, every day in your workouts, you had to be good. You had to be sharp. And then every game, like I said, there were, almost every team was very good. You could be beaten almost every night. And there were no cupcakes. So you had to play. And along with that, for DeMatha, they played a national schedule. We traveled. We played the best teams in Philly, and we played the best teams in California. We played the best teams in Kentucky, throughout the country. So, for that, you just, as a competitor, you weren't going to survive and succeed. And that's something that stuck with me through college, and then also through the NBA and through what I was doing now. I value, as a NBA executive, I valued unselfishness. I value people that wanted to get better every day, but I really, really valued people that were high-level competitors that just wanted to get after it, and their motors ran hard and clear. And that had an influence on me in everything I've done since being at the Mapper.
T, I think it's safe to say, I mean, you talk about one of the 50 all-time greatest players in ACC history with his number hanging from the rafters, which, by the way, is one of the coolest things ever. I think it's safe to say you could just say it right now. I mean, he's going to be all-time 50 greatest guests on this show. I mean, I don't know if we can get that pullover from him. You know, if he could just mail it, we can just hoist it in the rafters right behind here.
Yeah, you're doing him a good service. This has been, Danny, this has been, 4 now straight weeks of the best of the best of the best of the league with Adrian Dantley, Eric Metcalf, Lawrence Moten, you. That's been our lineup. I mean, that in and of itself.
Eric Metcalf was a good basketball. Eric Metcalf was a good basketball. He was a good basketball player in the conference. Quick and fast, and I mean, as you would assume, that translated on the basketball court as well.
Well, again, there you have it. I mean, so multiple sports. What other outside of basketball? What other passion did you have in sports? I mean, obviously you were dedicated and committed to the hardwood, but what other sports did you really enjoy playing growing up? I'm guessing you were able. I'm guessing your skills translated to other sports as well.
I played a little of everything, but I was, 6'4" in 8th grade and 6'9" in 9th grade. I knew the best thing for me to do was to focus on basketball. It's what I really loved, and I was built for it. Maybe not as an athlete and being able to run as fast, be as quick, or jump, or whatever it was, but I was built from a size standpoint, and I was very fortunate to grow up in a really rich environment at home with my brother and my father being teachers and mentors to me as a kid.
I'm sure Bill McGregor probably took at least one shot at trying to get you out there on the football field.
No chance. No chance.
Morgan wouldn't let that happen. He couldn't. He was
okay.
We had
football players. We had some football players, but it wasn't going to be me. I wanted to be a basketball player. I thought, I didn't know if I'd be a pro. I didn't even think about that. But, I was at the Mapper to play basketball and get an education, and that's really what I focused on every single day I was there.
Well, we have something we like to do, Danny, word association. I'm going to give you some names, and if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to get 1 or 2 or 3 word response from you as I go through this list of some just amazing people that you've had a chance to cross paths with. And we'll start with some easy ones. Mike Krzyzewski.
Smart, great communicator.
Greg Popovich.
A little eccentric, brilliant, wonderful person.
David Robinson.
Class, character, athletic.
Alaa Abdelnaby.
Talented, talker. He liked to talk. He's very social.
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr, wonderful person, great shooter, great friend.
Christian Laettner.
Great player, difficult.
Tim Duncan.
The best. Great player, unbelievable teammate.
Johnny Dawkins.
Cool. A leader, the most important person in Duke basketball history, other than Coach K.
That's high praise, and that's great. Plus, I know Kevin, our co-host, who's not with us tonight, he'll very much appreciate that. He's a huge Duke fan, his Duke family. And he was very much looking forward to being here tonight again. He couldn't be here, but I know he'll appreciate the Johnny Dawkins love because he absolutely agrees with you. I have a get out question for you, Danny. And this is T always gets a little nervous when I go off script, but it's
Look
not.
out there.
Be careful.
Look
be
out.
careful. If you could appear on any game show, past or present, what would it be and why?
Wow. I Price is Right.
That's great. Come on down. Come on down, Danny Ferry. Everybody loves number 35. Thank you so much for your time. You've made our holiday season bright. T?
Hey, listen, if I got one thing I'm going to take away from this, Danny, I'm going to brag on myself just a little bit, is that you were talking about Johnny Dawkins being cool. Now, you said it at least twice, maybe three, okay? Cool people attract cool people. So he attracted you to Duke. You attracted me to DeMatha. So I'm like just a couple of degrees separated from cool of Johnny Dawkins. I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. I appreciate you. It was cool to have you on. Really appreciate everything that you've done for DeMatha and for the community. Love to have you on again in the future and keeping an eye on the things going on in the WCAC and what you've done to allow us to do this every Tuesday night and just brag on the kids and the boys and the girls and the coaches and the administration and everybody. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you. Enjoyed it. And I'm going to follow up and watch a little more as you have more shows. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Danny. Awesome. Have a great holiday season, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you.
T, I tell you what, we did it. We did it again. We did it again. Another amazing guest. Another testament to the greatness of the WCAC. Not just DeMatha, all the schools, but certainly shout out to the DeMatha community. You pump out amazing human beings, with the man in the bottom right-hand corner of this screen being one of them, and certainly our guest tonight as well. Hats off to you, Hyattsville.
Well, he's a big part of the story of the WCAC in sports. And he was a big deal for me personally, and that's why I was so appreciative of him coming on. I've met him many times throughout my life, but never had the opportunity to do that. But I think it really speaks to why we do what we do. Because I think the WCAC has a story. It has a lot of great people in that story, and we've displayed that a lot over the last 3 years, and a ton in the last few weeks. If this is the first show that you're watching, go back, check them out. I know Danny's going to do it, because all these little pieces is what makes this conference great. And the history of it. And I had pride going into DeMatha because there was a legacy, established there, and it was my turn to carry that on and pass it on. But when we talk about the league, it's even the same for the league on a bigger scale, and it means a lot to us. And I'm just so happy that we can do that and then bring these guys back. I love the smiles on their faces when Eric Metcalf said, "Hey, thanks a lot for coming back and letting me, bragging on me a little bit, bringing back all these memories and stuff." And now we can archive it and keep it for everybody to watch forever. That's just what's so cool about all this stuff.
And we couldn't do it without help. And at this time, I definitely want to make sure people understand that the people supporting us and telling this story every week, especially during this holiday season, is our main sponsor right now, pinkdotstyles.com. It's the holiday season. I know we've been showcasing a lot of gifts that all the young men out there can provide to their wives, mothers, sisters, daughters. The fact of the matter is at pinkdotstyles.com, you can get just about anything that you need, spring, fall, winter, Christmas season, entertaining guests, which we will do again. I promise you we will. The barware, the bags. It is an amazing outfit run by good people who are committed to helping us tell the story of the WCAC. Caroline does an amazing job. Enter the code WCAC5 for a shipping deal. I have been to their shipping department. It is run by the finest folks in Kensington, Maryland. They will get it out to you quick, fast, and in a hurry. Do yourself a favor, put a smile on someone's face by getting them something they need, something they want, and something they'll love at pink.styles.com. Appreciate you guys. And we couldn't finish the show without telling you a story about something positive and something amazing going on in the WCAC community. We got a couple of those, starting with my man, Jason Reynolds, class of 2000 at Bishop McNamara, a very gifted writer. What did he do this holiday season? He just went to the bookstore, bought all of his books, and gave them all out as gifts. His name pops up in the credits of a number of awesome projects like Ghost, like Miles Morales, Mustang with the talent, being a man for others this holiday season.
It's not always about sports, man. We're about everything. Let's show credit where it's due.
Got to keep it going with the positive. Heading out over to O'Connell where the football team filled up over 100 gift boxes to put smiles on folks' faces. Man, I'll tell you what, talk about doing something good for your neighbor. That's what they're doing out in Virginia. That's what the Knights are up to this holiday season. Appreciate you guys basically giving your time. I mean, you talk about the time we find ourselves in. People are in need more than like anything else. It's that human contact, that knowing that someone is out there thinking about you. It's a little gesture that you can do that goes a hell of a long way. If you have an opportunity to be involved in something like that this holiday season, I promise you won't regret it. And that's what our kids and our schools in the WCAC are up to at this very second.
Well, again, that's, I love the phrase you coined. That was, we got to put more emphasis on the first C in WCAC, because that's really what all this is about, and a big part of why we went to the schools that we went to, and we're proud to be from where we're from, because they taught us about giving back. And this has been a tough year. So anything you do is huge, and we'd love to share it. You're doing something, you want us to put some light on it, get the word out there, please contact us. Let us know. We'd love to get it out there and share it with the community. What this is all about, with great talent out there. I mean, that guy Jason Reynolds is amazing. The more and more I read about it, but we'd love to talk about that too. It doesn't always have to be about sports. This is about, really the community itself. So, bring it on. This is great.
We will be back next Tuesday night in this very same spot. Teresa, I hope we did you right tonight. I hope you enjoyed this show that was in fact dedicated to you. We got it all in there. Awesome things being done by awesome people with an awesome guest that I know you love. So Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you. Again, our hearts go out to the Rickett family. We will be seeing you soon, brother. We appreciate you and your family. And we know there are better, more smile-filled times ahead. In fact, ahead in 1 week, in Tuesday night when we get to gather again on this very show. He's Tim Strachan.
Can't wait till next week, guys. Let's keep it rolling.
I'm Ken Marangolo. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, we wish you the absolute best. Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Vic. Thanks, MMD. See you next Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.